Hello, I am Ben Doggett. I am going to discuss in this video stance and movement as extrapolated from the great representation of the art and use of fencing by Ridolfo Capo Ferro. I'm going to begin with stance, starting from the feet, moving up through the legs, torso, arm, and head to give you a feel of how your body should rest on the ground. First, we're going to talk about the feet. When in stance, your feet should be slightly more than shoulder width apart. Your right foot, that is to say the foot that corresponds with the hand in which you hold your sword, should be pointed towards your enemy. Your left foot should point outward from your body at an oblique angle from your right foot, in line with the point of your left shoulder. Your heel should be in line, meaning if you were to draw a line down the center of your right foot, that line would intersect with the heel of your left foot. Though it is not stated in the text, I recommend that you put the weight on the balls of your feet. Doing this gives you extra control through the use of your toes, adds flexibility from the ankle, giving you a quicker, lighter step, and a wider base for increased stability. Now I'm going to move up to the legs. Your right leg stays in line with your right foot and is slightly bent. Your left knee stays in line with your left foot, and your left leg is bent as much as possible, or the maximum that is comfortable for your stance. Your hips should feel parallel to the ground. Because your left leg is bent, your right hip will tend to tilt upward. You may want to consciously push your right hip downward to compensate for this tendency. Also, the structure of the hips can differ greatly between men and women. You may find that your hips are jutting backwards, so be sure your hips are directly under your torso for maximum stability. The torso slopes backwards, slightly less than parallel with the right leg, so that your left shoulder is directly above the left foot, and your right shoulder divides the distance between front and back feet. The text discusses the skew of the torso. Your chest should be angled away from your enemy such that the visible area is roughly half as wide. Next, I will discuss the arms. Your right arm should point towards your enemy with the elbow slightly bent. Your forearm should make a straight line with your sword, with the tip of your sword pointing towards the uncovered areas of your enemy. The right arm should be bent as to allow flexibility in your strikes. An arm that is straightened is already at full extent of its attack range and cannot move any farther forward. Nor should an arm be too bent, because this diminishes range and leverage, and thus speed and power. The text states that the left arm should rest at a position such that the upper arm is in line with the left thigh. The hand is held close to the chest. This allows a quick extension as counterbalance while striking. Lastly, I will discuss the head. The head should comfortably rest in line with the torso, such that it is over the left shoulder. Once you are comfortable in your stance, have a friend place pressure on your sword hand, pushing towards your shoulder. If you are in proper stance, you should feel the pressure in your back foot pushing towards the ground. If you feel this pressure elsewhere, you must adjust your stance. Where you feel this pressure will determine what must be adjusted. If you feel the pressure in your shoulder, for instance, you probably need to adjust your arm. If you feel the pressure in your back, you may need to adjust your hips. Now I'm going to talk about movement. When stepping, always move one foot with the other, meaning if you step with the right foot, you follow with the left. The same is true if you step with the left foot. You must always follow with the right. At the end of any action or series of actions, it is important to return to your original stance. Be sure to keep your hips and torso stable without rising or falling.